Alrighty guys, good evening here. On our quest here, I'm late too. I also feel like shit, I don't know why. I am sick. But I don't know why I'd be sick. On our quest here guys, figuring out what the fuck's wrong with this game. I took a look at the Rivals Discord, and there's actually a significant amount of people that's saying they're having FPS issues in the game. Yeah. FPS or lag, kind of people just throw the two hand in hand with each other, colloquially refer to it as lag. And interestingly enough, I actually benchmarked this a lot tonight as figuring out different options, and I had things pretty well nailed down as far as what works here, guys. And then when I started streaming, my benchmark results just drastically improved. Why this is different, these are all stuff that I just did after I started streaming. Why does it say 8:19 p.m. UTC? I was UTC. No, UTC -5 would be basically my time zone. -6. Why does it say 8:19? That's wrong. But basically, I started streaming, and it went from this. These are different presets. Went from this to this. Why did my FPS improve when I started streaming? Dude, none of this shit makes sense. It's... For some strange reason, I can't consistently get the same numbers. I can, but like, sometimes things just weirdly change in this game, like despite the fact I'm doing the same exact thing. Just like launch to launch, it changes. And I have no idea why. Like right now, this is clearly different than it was earlier tonight. Why? This is I never got numbers like this. I generally don't use this is basically the first time I've really used the in-game benchmark. The reason for that, guys, is because it doesn't duplicate an online scenario. This is basically more of a GPU and CPU benchmark. Multiplayer games are different because of the netcode and the interactions with other players that's happening in the game. This is like basically replaying a demo, and that only tells you so much. It's not going to tell you how the game functions in a live environment. It's very difficult to duplicate. Which is one of the reasons a lot of people don't actually benchmark video games or multiplayer games. I don't know, I feel like shit. I feel like I'm sick right now. No idea why. Didn't earlier tonight, up until maybe about 11. Very weird. I have a fever. I have a headache. Why would I? It's a good question. Good question. Going down now? Yeah, my 1% are dropping now. Run-to-run variance is pretty wild. Also, literal aimbot. Like bots. Yeah, these results I'm getting right now, guys. I have not gotten at all earlier tonight. There's a couple things I can do to make things run better, but these results I'm currently getting are not something I had earlier in this evening, which makes absolutely no fucking sense in any way, shape, or form. So, why would that actually be the case at all? I have no fucking idea. Like, it's consistent run to run now, but this wasn't the case earlier tonight. So after starting the game, it is now consistent run to run. What the literal fuck, guys? I'm gonna try, like, I didn't actually have Chrome running earlier, so it should make it worse, right? Because Chrome's running right now playing background music. Having Chrome open makes it run better? What the fuck does that even mean? I have no idea, guys. Alright, let's try another one here without my OBS open. I didn't actually try a benchmark with OBS open earlier tonight. Just a standby screen, guys. I know. It happens. I don't understand why my FPS would have been higher earlier tonight. All I did was start my stream and Chrome's open. The fuck is going on here? Even if the 1% are different from what I've experienced, they're somewhat ballpark, and the average is almost always like very close to being identical. So why is this so drastically different now? Oh, it's the same after closing Chrome. $49.90. That even looks normal. $9.88. $5.67. My GPU utilization's higher now. $45.69. What? $46.70. My GPU utilization's a lot higher now. Why? $45.70. All the earlier benchmarks from earlier tonight. $37.94. I don't understand what's going on here, guys. Because I'm CPU capped, the GPU utilization really shouldn't go up at all. $44.75. $46.72. Chrome literally making this run better? How ridiculous would that be? I haven't really adjusted any of the settings. Besides, a couple times I haven't since we started this with the stream. Holy shit. Is it OBS? Or excuse me, is it Chrome? Why would having Chrome open improve my performance? Is it having the video running on the alternate monitor? What the fuck is wrong with Windows? Lower now. What the fuck is this, guys? Having a video running on my secondary monitor improved the performance of my game. Because I have a music video running, right, for background music? Maybe not. Hang on. The threading, I'm looking at how the CPU utilization is being spread across all my cores is actually better right now, too. I'm just in general not pertaining to running, not running. So this is basically about the same. What the fuck happened? What happened here, guys? So this has nothing to do with Chrome. It's nothing to do with OBS. Why am I now getting more FPS? Why is my GPU more utilized too? CPU is about the same, but GPU utilization is higher now. What the fuck is going on here? Start my computer. Did they just update something? Like, it literally would have to been between when I started streaming and the last benchmark I ran prior to it. I wish there was an easy way to check update history, and there isn't. Changed. OBS basically makes almost no discernible difference when it's running and when it's not. SteamDB and update history. Last time I looked here, it wasn't correct though. There's one 9 hours ago, but that was after I basically started doing this already. Opening up patches. July 17th. No. So there was an update on the 17th. Builds, packages, depots. 5 days ago, which is when the patch is issued. 17th. So that's nothing to do with me. Now this is lower. This is lower than when I last restarted, right? Yeah. And the 1% are substantially lower. This still isn't as bad as it was earlier tonight with the same settings, which is right around here. 217, 138. I didn't do anything. Why the fuck is this changing? Why is it doing this, guys? How does this even make sense? There should be consistently, within a reasonable margin, consistently similar performance, but it is all over the place. I was at 217, 138 earlier tonight. Same settings. And I started streaming, and now I'm at 280 and 170? 273 and 170? The weird thing is my GPU utilization is higher, where it wasn't before. which would somehow insinuate that the CPU utilization is more efficient now. Why? Like what? What? It's using about the same amount of CPU utilization, but it's higher, more efficient. What? 261, 165. 4888, 4990. $45, but 67, 68. What the fuck is this shit? How does that remotely make sense? Like looking even over at my CPU, like because I have a monitor on the left side, how it's threaded on the CPU is now different. But all I did was start streaming, so why is it different now? The fuck, guys? How does this remotely make sense? Remotely make sense. The game isn't updated. I didn't change anything. I just started streaming. And all of a sudden, my FPS is better in game now? Holy jeebus, guys. Like I said, I generally don't use in-game benchmarks, and the reason for that is because it usually does not remotely reflect what actually happens in the game itself, so there's no reason to actually run it. It doesn't make sense, because, like, for instance, earlier is saying, like, depending on which, uh, super resolution or super sampling I was using, right? So, like, DLSS or Epic, it was saying is basically almost the same performance, which logically makes sense, but it doesn't feel that way in the game, so... going on here, guys, that isn't outwardly apparent. Writing looks different now. I might have figured it out. Maybe. I wonder, maybe they do try to simulate, like, because it has a delay. Maybe this is actually simulated. It's run on a server right now to help simulate the actual environment. That would make a lot more sense. It'd also be much more complicated than a demo. It's closer to what I was getting earlier tonight. Notice the difference here? But it's still not as bad as getting earlier tonight. These are all with different settings. This one is with the same settings. These two. 217, 138, 223, 155, which is ballpark. 2154. So now it looks similar. Which is weird, because some of the settings that I've changed that give me higher FPS in the replay right now, in the benchmark, do not feel good in the game itself. Because I've changed a couple, and I know for a fact when I've tried them in the past, they don't feel as good, even though they give me higher FPS. Yeah, now we're lower too. It's like second run, so I don't know if that's thermal related or not. Maybe it is. I don't know. Thermal shouldn't change that much. The most interesting aspect, the most interesting part here is how it seemingly has affected my GPU utilization. 231, 130. So this is where I was earlier tonight. So this makes more sense. And you can see GPU utilization's now, is it the same? 4480. Seems pretty high. 4482. 4990. No, so it's up. Once again, it's more efficient. Utilization per CPU utilization is higher. 4890. 4888. Let's try this. This basically gives me the best performance. However, it doesn't feel as good in game. Much higher FPS. But this doesn't feel as good when it's running. Pretty big frame drop in the center of that, which might be an outlier. .284, 206. This gives a big negative dick right there. So it's talking about that guy. Prior to streaming, when I was running the good settings, it's right here, tool. So 1% are actually about on par. The 1% is what we really care about. 1% are your stuttering and your micro stuttering. And it's basically what really fucks you in the game. The average FPS, the closer your 1% are to your average FPS, the better. The more consistent your FPS is. So this is drastically better than the other test scenarios, but both the two test scenarios I tested were actually just different. They shouldn't be, but they are, which is very curious. Also, I want to say, weirdly enough, CPU utilization in my actual matches, guys, is higher than what I'm seeing on the left side screen right now. Where there aren't many spikes, or basically, right now I set it to use 8 of my cores, right? And that's nice, except when it ellipses 8 cores, then you end up with a worse experience. But in the replay here, it's not really doing that at all. Whatever this is, the demo, it's not really doing that at all. 284, 215. Yeah, so like this is, I don't know why my average FPS is lower now. It should be higher. It should be in the 300s. I wonder if this relates to OBS. What if I close OBS and run this without OBS running? That might be the overhead with OBS. Interestingly enough, the OBS does not affect the 1%, so it's just the average, which is about 8% performance hit. $200 to $280, $300 to $280. 30 FPS would be 10%. So 7% maybe? 8%, 7%? Yep, average FPS is now 309. Weirdly enough, my 1% lows are now lower. So, what the fuck does that mean? Let me try restarting the game here, guys. So it was OBS. But it's just average FPS. By the way, guys, this isn't something I started when I started streaming. I've probably been doing this for like the last 2 hours prior to streaming. Give this another go. Sometimes, even though you can, you'd think that if you just do something, the game will adapt to it, just like changing the super scaler, but you have to restart. Otherwise, you end up with weird hiccups. So. Well, I expect to spend my entire night doing this, but here we are. Maybe 3 hours. No, actually, I probably did 3 or maybe 4 hours prior to starting the stream. I was doing it on the side because I can do test runs while basically I'm doing other things like working. Yeah, I'd say 3 or 4 hours. Ah, yes, yield standby screen. Mm-hmm. I know I can get higher. 1% higher than 175, though. Might have been erroneous. Yeah, so this one's 304 and 223. All right, let's try something different here. We're going to be a bit silly. Do something silly here. This. Right, and do this, and do this. Then do this. This, and that. It's actually supposed to be... should be a lot worse. We're going to see here. So, this should actually be absolutely horrible. We'll see. So far, tonight has seemingly... has not matched my expectations of what should be happening here, so... No. This still looks like it, it definitely... no, this is a lot worse performance. Look at that. No, this is a lot worse. Yep. So it is a bit silly. This is almost as bad as the game without the tweak performance. Let's see, 3198. So, wow, holy shit! So most of this was GPU utilization, not CPU. CPU is actually down, but it could be down specifically because it's not. It could be more efficient, but the 1% are higher now than some of our games earlier, or our recordings earlier. Curiously, also let's take a look at this real quick here. Oh, this is laggy as fuck. fuck's my OBS running? Okay. Doing that. Task manager? Desktop Windows Manager really does not like this, guys. Let's try it anyways. Exactly what you're not supposed to do, by the way, which is using display capture with OBS. I think this is about the same. Can't tell because the 1% aren't present in the overlay. By the way, I found out if you turn on the overlay, you hit F1 for more, it actually makes the game, it registers a higher benchmark. At least from what I've seen. 235, 176. It's actually better. This is actually better. All right, that makes less sense. I'm actually using a compatibility mode. 3197, 3198, 3999. Differences between these two. 3998. It's actually better. Still not as good as game capture. All right, let's try this again. I might have to restart my game. Fix itself. Let's see. We 223, so that's worse still. 1% are now up though. For some reason, Marvel Rivals takes a year to close. I think it's uploading shit, but it doesn't really look like it is. That was basically on point. It's almost identical. 288, 170. That's actually, the 1% are a lot lower. Yeah. Why? The weird thing. This is a lot lower. Not a little bit lower. Like the average is fine, but the 1% are a lot lower. Guess it could maybe be a stutter. Windows is doing something in the background, it can fuck up the test. No, I don't think this is server side. This is run on my client. I don't know why the delay's there. I was just thinking about it, in order to actually have them do the same exact thing over and over and over again. I guess maybe you could program each character individually to run a script, right, when this goes through. I don't think they took time to do that, though. I'm going to say this is running client side. So it's like going up now. I don't know why. So 1% are about the same, but our average is about the same, but our 1% are now going up. I've seen this do this before, and then eventually goes up to 223. I don't know why. I don't think the delay is anything. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the server could actually run a demo of the characters, only manipulate each one of the movements they're doing from the demo, from the server side. Here. Let's see. Do. It's less stressful than playing the game, so considering the problem I've been having. That being said, guys, like I said, I looked through the Discord and there's a lot of people since Friday. Is basically when there's a giant uptick in people. They must have changed something. Maybe it's with the anti-cheat. There is a giant swath of people talking about FPS and lag issues on their Discord. You can't search the weird where the shit is. Normally, you go to the Reddit to see whether or not people are having issues, but they delete shit that is if there's anything wrong with the game, they delete it. So you can't actually go to Reddit. Funny how that goes, huh? Can't go to Reddit, which is the giant repository of information. Instead, you got to go to the Discord and search keywords, which is pretty fucking obnoxious. Oh, also, I've been running in borderless windowed, which apparently doesn't affect things at all. It's basically the same performance as getting with full screen. Once again, rough ballpark, if it's changed by like 20 FPS, that's when it's a big deal. There's always going to be differences and fluctuations. Yeah, if they really wanted to, they could simulate a network environment, but I kind of highly doubt that. I'm pretty sure this is just a demo replaying on your local file. They put delay in there probably to infer that it's actually being on a server somewhere or it's server sided, but it's not. It would take a substantial amount of work to make something that's actually accurately reflects a network state. Like you'd have to have each one of these being an individual client that's sending data across the network and basically scripted data across the network. And you'd see differences in how people interact just purely because the netcode is imperfect. Networking itself is imperfect, so you'll see fluctuations in where positioning and how people interact with the game. This is 100% a demo. You see them move in different spots purely because it's netcode, and the internet itself is not a static environment, and the netcode has to negotiate that. 285 to 11. Also, it's spelled Agani, not again. Agani. They don't even understand. Probably put it back into full screen. At this point in Windows, guys, full screen and exclusive full screen doesn't really exist anymore, so whether or not this changes anything, I probably doubt it. $292 to 10. 1% are about the same. Really looks like my 1% are lower now after I rebooted. Let's try going full screen. Likely monitor didn't change at all, which means it's not exclusive full screen at all. It probably just it just locks your mouse to the window so it doesn't move. Give it a restart. Let's see. Are you guys enjoying the games tonight, or lack thereof? I like how the opening screen is literally like 2 minutes long, and you have to click multiple buttons to get past it, including spacebar, left click, and I think escape also, because you can't just use one button to do it, right? That'd be so absurd. Yeah, there's no way this is actually a server side. This is all client. This is just a demo. Let's see. So this changed basically nothing. Full screen and exclusive full screen changes absolutely nothing in the game, guys. It just no, it doesn't even lock your cursor to the screen. What does it even do? I don't even think it does anything. Yeah. Maybe it even reduces your performance. That'd be ridiculous. The weird thing is, this doesn't actually tell you anything about input latency, so you can't really tell. Can't tell how things feel until you play a game and then realize it actually sucks. A lot of these options I've tested, guys, without using the benchmark, and they don't feel good. So the thing about it is, it just doesn't feel good. see. Lower now? Maybe I guess it's worse. Probably a wash. See. Might not get the games tonight, guys. Not that I'm against that, but you know. Let's huh. It's not actually threading things the same way it did earlier, using the same identical options. Yeah, and I'm not getting the same performance either. Surprise. Regardless, using the same identical settings, guys, it's not giving me the same identical performance options. Maybe it is? Oh, come back. 175, 1%. Is not. So they're all what the preset is using. Here's where it was earlier tonight, before I figured what was going on. Add a note to this, and you can't. Lower now. Like I said, I can look at the left screen and see that how it's put onto my CPU is different. And it literally affects the game performance. Even though all I did was restart the game. That's the only difference, is restarting the game. Running YouTube? Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe it like soft pushes the game to my other cores. Windows is such a dumpster fire. Do the same thing over and over again, guys, and find out it does different things each time you do the same thing. That's not a small margin either. It's not changing things in a small way. We're talking like 20% performance difference. And 20% on your 1% is a lot of performance. It feels that way in the game. Worse. All I did was restart the game. Maybe not. Writing looks better again. Like it just fixed itself? What? 251? No. That's fucking horrible. What? Where it was earlier tonight. Way down here. My average is higher, but my 1% are really abysmal now. Does it change partway into the demo? What I noticed is there's a core that had a high load on it on my second CCD, so CCD 1. One of the cores had a high load on it, and it looks like it shifted to CCD 0 now, which is where it should be, which is my cache cores. Yeah, now it's more evenly balanced. The fuck is this shit, guys? It just retroactively changed the performance of what's going on in the game while I'm sitting here watching it, and I'm doing a demo over and over again. That's all I'm doing. Just doing a demo over and over again. Nothing else changing. I bet my 1% are going to be a lot higher on this run. Pretty sure the threading in Windows changed while I was running the demo. You can't make this shit up, guys. I've seen it before. I've seen the same exact behavior when I've been playing the game. I have seen it myself. Yeah, look how high my average is now. Like, it doesn't fix itself, too. It just sits there and, like, you can see the threading's wrong. It is a lot higher. 266, 158. It's not where it is with my magic tweak. But look, 251, 266, 158 versus 137. That's legitimately what? That's not 20%. That's 15 or 10? 16. Yeah, like 12% improvement on 1%. Just the only thing that changed here, guys, was I clicked the button again. That's it. I saw on the left side screen, because I have a monitor, I saw the threading on the CPU change while this demo was running, and then this turned out better. 4783, 4988, like utilization's higher. 5789, 585. There's a lot of things, by the way, there's a lot of things they could do here to parse stats better. They don't have in the demo here. Like we talked about efficiency. You can't even figure out what the fucking bottleneck is here. And it doesn't, like, even looking at my left side screen, it doesn't even look like one of my cores is getting maxed out. So I don't actually know what the bottleneck actually is. That just makes it weirder. Game's the bottleneck. Oh, can we look at the graph? No, nothing stands out. Lily can watch, guys, and see the threading changes while the thing's running. Absurd, and it makes a huge difference. So the first time I ran things tonight, I had Chrome open, which is set to my CCD 1. So my second CCD was partially loaded with Chrome, a small amount. But that seemingly forced the game to CCD 0. And it's the weird thing about threading, guys, is because two CCDs is like having two CPUs on the same die, right? Which doesn't really, it's not that big of a deal unless there's something that needs to have close access to another thread and it's on a separate CCD. And Windows will try and put them on the same CCD, but it doesn't always work that way. The same thing with, it's to a lesser extent, it's kind of the same thing as P and E cores. So if you know performance and economy or efficiency cores work with Intel, you can use efficiency cores, but you need to have specialized workloads on them. The game needs to understand what it is when it's putting on them. If it doesn't, it can lead to a lot of issues with it. It's different because the performance hit isn't as bad between CCD 1 and 0. It's not as bad as P and E cores, but there's still a performance hit. So if it's something that needs to be in close access, it needs to be on the same CCD, but it's not always. So I think that's what's going on there. But this still doesn't explain whether or not this is actually going to have a real world impact. All the stuff I'm doing right now might not even have a real world impact in the game itself. You can see the threading's fucked up right now. It likes using core, what is it, 8? Which is technically core 9, depending on how you look at it. Loves using that one that's on a different CCD. And you can look at my average FPS and see it's lower now. Last time it fixed itself, too. Thing is, like, you can look at average FPS and 1% FPS, and you don't actually know how this is going to affect things like hit registration or even input latency, even though there's a correlation between input latency and FPS. Not always the way the game works while it's operating in the background. I think it fixed itself. Yeah, so it fixed itself halfway into this run again. .253, 156. It's almost the same. Now it's higher. So after it fixes the threading, it starts working better. So it took like, what, one demo? I don't know what that'd even be in the game. One match. I don't even know if it worked the same way in the game itself. I don't know if Windows did that or the game intelligently did that. So this is better. Music sound 183. Yeah, it's a lot better. So after the threading fixes itself, it actually improves the benchmark quite a bit. Looks better than this, too. All right, let's try this. Where it does make me really want to kind of reinstall Windows 10 and see what happens with it. Windows 11 is supposed to have better threading, which is mostly true, but then you end up in weird cases where it doesn't work as well. And it really shows you. Most of it's tinfoil hat shit at this point, but it really makes you wonder. I haven't reinstalled Windows 10 in the past, and it doesn't seem like it helps at all, which is why I went back to Windows 11. Definitely some issues with the game, though. I don't know if they're going to fix it or what's going to go on here. It started on Friday. Like I said, there wasn't a patch, so I'm pretty sure it must be their anti-cheat or something on their servers. They can 100% push an anti-cheat update without the game being updated, so Friday is when everything went to janky fuckness for me. Give it a shot again. And threading looks weird. Maybe not. No, it's definitely weird. It's on core 13 now. 12. Might fix itself again. I'll have to wait and see. There's definitely some high running thread, something that actually is utilized heavily. Single thread, and it's on, doesn't always put itself in the right spot. You see the average FPS is lower too. $235, $146. A lot lower. Give it a second run here and see if it fixes itself. Oh, it still likes loading Core 12. That's not really much better at all. Why does escape not take me back to the past broadcasts? Should just always do that. Past reports. It's almost identical. That's not what we wanted. And it's worse. It's supposed to be better by the way, performance-wise, the options that I just turned on, which is PBO and such, should make things better, and it does not. Things don't always work better, guys, even though they're supposed to make things better, even though the general consensus is supposed to work better. See? All right. I have some other things I want to test too, but I'm gonna have to wait until I'm done streaming tonight. They're probably gonna fuck around with the stream. Haven't changed the super resolution at all. It's not really anything I'm testing at all. A lot of this game has to do with your CPU, guys, and your GPU kind of. I have a 4092. My 4090 is like almost never fully utilized. I should have ample headroom on CPU-wise, but it doesn't really work that way. And the threading's fucked up again. We'll see if it fixes itself. This time it's on Core 9, though, so it might fix itself. I don't even know it does it. I don't know if it's Windows or the game that does it. I can see it change about halfway into the demo. And it just fixed itself. And the option of change seemingly didn't do much of anything. Yeah, these two are comparable. Maybe a little bit higher average FPS. Average looks higher. Do I have an AI companion? I do not, Slain. Probably will eventually, but it's not Grok or whatever. It's not in a usable state right now where I'd actually be interested in something like that. Plus, I'm actually a solitary person. I'm not super extroverted. I also tend to enjoy my own, I don't know what to call it. I enjoy reality. Same reason I don't use drugs or alcohol for the most part. I enjoy being lucid more so than fantasy. I don't know what that. I don't know even if there's a term for that. I don't know if other people are in the same boat. It's not really anything like standing out either, like oh marijuana's bad or anything like that. You can smoke all you want. It's rather like it feels like rejecting reality is like makes me feel worse. It's like escapism makes me feel worse. Yeah, I mean it is, and companions, especially if XAI uses them more or capitalizes on them, are going to be a part of everyone's life. It's not going. That's not going away. Yeah, it's not going away. That's not going away. There's so much stuff they can literally. Like I already suggested to them that they put it in VR chat, and it'll literally just make people hysterical, like hysteria, like just absolutely complete psychosis. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to tell reality from fiction anymore. Which maybe we're to the point where we should have that. So maybe we've gotten to the point where that's something we should have, right? Actually, worse now. Let's do one more. But yes, it is. AI has gotten much better. You can't really completely depend on it, but you can use it for collating data and putting trends together, research in general, get you started. And then you have to obviously do final passes on it yourself. It might not be completely evident to people because a lot of people are not like programmers or engineers, right? But there's definitely a case to be made where it's like having 100 research assistants at your fingertips and allows you to do stuff that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. Elon thinks life is a simulation. I haven't heard that one. Maybe. I mean, it's possible, but there's no way to prove it. Sometimes it feels that way. It feels like shit's rigged. But shit could be rigged and has nothing to do with the simulation, right? Like if you're in some sort of experiment, people have ways, especially with advanced technology, to influence it. So it might not be a simulation, but still, there might be things that are controlled over your life that you have no control or say over, right? Which it honestly feels that way. Based on my personal experience, guys, and basically how life has seemingly cucked me at every single attempt I have at becoming successful. Like I get to the point of being really successful, and then like it just tanks. It just bottoms out. I have no idea why. I still to this day have no idea why. I just get to that point where I'm like taking off, and then it just shits on me. My stream was that way too. Like it's not even like all the things in my life you guys aren't aware of, but then my stream was like that too, where it just was like starting to lift off, and then it just shit the bed. Like in the gaming, same way too. Like we started doing good in Rivals, and then the game just shit the bed. And then we started doing good in season 3, and then the game just shit the bed. And it legit feels like there's just something like this would be a fucking like you can make a case for a jail, but this would be a really weird jail, right? But maybe in the future, there's only so much they can do in terms of corrections. But if it'd be weird if you're jailed and you don't know you're jailed, right? So what's the point of I guess maybe restructuring, so making people like changing the way people think if they're aware that they're being restructured or reprogrammed, right? They would be against it, so you'd have to make it in a way that would be um, they wouldn't be able to tell, right? Obstructed. You'd have to obstruct the change to them so that you can actually reprogram them without them rebelling against the reprogramming, right? This honestly doesn't look that much better than earlier. Oh, you know what I didn't check though? Need to look at 4987, 8787, 8356, 4683. Where was it? 1, 2. You should be able to put notes on this shit right here. 4991, 987. This just means I have more GPU headroom available. I think my 1% are worse now too. Sure. I mean, this it is entirely possible that the whole idea is just synonym. A lot of things I feel in life are connected, especially with psionics now, and like occult, religion, spirituality. It feels like all this is interconnected with itself at this point, and it's just different names for the same thing. It's just different interpretations of people that have come across the same things over time. And then they just try to figure, whatever way they can to describe the, whatever's going on, right? The best of their ability, and sometimes it's interpreted as religion, sometimes it's interpreted as spiritual experience, sometimes it's interpreted as a cult, so like ghosts, aberrations, right? Might just be alien NHIs, or alien wildlife, not NHIs. So like ghosts or aberrations could actually just be alien wildlife. So this didn't work. Let's see. I think I found the best configuration, which was basically a crossover with what I was already doing. There was one setting that was influencing things that I didn't know it was influencing things because it shouldn't, but apparently it still does. I know you said Earth is hell. Earth is not hell. That being said, I've also been stopped from doing good, so like I'm not really also doing horrible. Life could be a lot worse for me. I know that. But also at the same time, it seems like every time I'm about to succeed, I can't. So like what would that be like? What's the hypothesis? Who's the guy that has to push the boulder up the hill the entire fucking time in Greek mythology? Who's the boulder pushing guy? My life feels that way. Like, it's not really hell, but at the same time, it's also who pushes boulder uphill. Sisyphus. In Greek mythology, Sisyphus is an individual that condemned to eternally push a boulder uphill, only to have it roll back down every time he nears the top. This is a futile task, is his punishment for tricking the gods and cheating death. The myth of Sisyphus has become a powerful metaphor for endless, pointless labor and struggle against seemingly insurmountable obstacles, according to literature sites. Yep, accurate. Feels a lot like my life. Sisyphus is my life. Yeah. Just you push it harder, it just rolls down faster. What's fun of that? Like, you should be encouraged to do better, right? But in my case, it seems like the better I try to do, the more I just get hurt for doing it. And it's fucking crazy. What a synopsis. What a fucking horrible way to live things. Someone somewhere in a fucking control room's probably giggling to themselves, too. You see what's going on in the Middle East that will span over to US in less than 2 years? No. You mean the war? All right. I think we got some stuff I need to change here, guys, but I think we're going to call things for tonight's stream. Mainly due to the fact I have some stuff I still want to test, but I can't test it while I'm streaming to you guys, so it doesn't really work. Yes, I think I got a pretty good handle what's going on here now. Well, not really, because this does performance. The whole reason I haven't used the benchmark, guys, is because it doesn't really match up with what I'm feeling in the game. And the benchmark results can look better, but it doesn't feel that way in the game. So what the fuck does that mean? Like, it doesn't keep track of input delay, for instance, or I don't know. We talk about GPU utilization, CPU utilization, max core. So if a core gets maxed out, that's really important because it means that you're CPU bound, even if you have available headroom on your CPU. Whereas Russia, China, I mean, that's fear mongering. Everyone's talked about war with Russia and China for the longest time. That's just fear mongering shit. I wouldn't worry about that. There's more weirder shit going on right now. They just released the JFK files. So worth taking a look. Or MLK files. Apparently were just released yesterday, I want to say. Apparently there's already some big revelations in it. Mainly the CIA might be partially responsible for that. So again, and their church committee. Church committee, if you guys are unfamiliar, was an oversight committee in the 60s, I want to say, or 70s, that pried into investigations the CIA did that were unlawful, such as wiretapping and shit like that. Yeah. Tires? I don't know. Just, I'm currently watching an anime called The Apothecary Diaries. Pretty good. It's more for women, though, but otherwise pretty decent. Worth taking a look at. But I'm going to call things for this evening, guys. Tonight will be more Rivals. We'll probably actually be playing games tonight. I don't know. I think there's something definitely wrong with the game, and I don't know if it even has anything to do with the demo, like if it's actually even apparent in the demo, because I've never actually really used the demo, so I don't know if my results are drastically different than normal. But definitely found something that wasn't kosher, so yeah. I'm out here for this evening, guys. If you're new to the stream and you enjoy things, hit the follow button on your select platform. I stream to Kick, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Trovo, as well as TikTok every day from late night to early morning. GMT minus 6, so late night North America time. I stream for about 4 to 5 hours, give or take. Depends what's going on in my life, what's happening, etc., etc. Guys, we had another short stream tonight, but I was doing the testing like 3 to 4 hours prior to even streaming. This is just part of what's going on. So, yeah. This is an ongoing process. I'm trying to figure out what's fucked up here, and maybe it's another tool in my box, or maybe it's just garbage. So, I mean, it's sort of matched up with what I've been feeling out already, but there's also some weird things that maybe I've figured out, maybe not. So, but I'm out here for this evening, guys. Thanks for watching my streams as always, and I hope you guys have a wonderfully fantastic Monday night and Tuesday morning. Have a good day, guys.